Hello and welcome back to the GiSquad. Once again, it's episode
8.
fancy. Here we have created a space to talk about all the things that life has to bring us on and off the mats of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Today's topic is bench parent versus training parent. I actually have been lucky enough to be both, which is cool. The bench parent never thought I would be a training parent. And sometimes the training parent wants to be a bench parent.
Very true.
So true. So I was a bench parent for 2 years, solid. We started at our gym, like I said before, when no one was there. It was post-COVID, end of COVID. So the kids needed something to do, or, the world was crazy. I just never put myself mentally on the mats. It was always about the kids, right? And it was funny. As I've mentioned, Professor tried to get us on the mats, and we're just kind of like, whatever. No, the kids are doing it. But from becoming a bench parent to now being a training parent, we go back to that statement. I wish I started sooner. I felt very inadequate when I became a training parent because my kids knew more than me, and they're 6 and 8. So that's a little intimidating, watching them be experienced in something that I had no clue about, especially as, my youngest was a toddler. Like, she was little. She wasn't even 4. And now she's a gray and white belt, about to be a gray belt, hopefully. And, of course, when I stepped on the mats being a white belt, they knew all the terminology and could put a terminology, a term with an action. And it was just mind blowing to me. And I felt, like I said, inadequate. I was like, oh, it's like going to algebra again.
Yeah, right. And then having to teach it.
Yeah, absolutely. But it was also obviously a good bonding experience. Really, really awesome. It made me feel like I was actually in it with them, because I was. And even though they were teaching me at that point, and now I can feel like sometimes I can teach them. I obviously, as a blue belt, we're a quote unquote higher belt than them because I didn't go through the kids system. Mm-hmm. But man, when they're blue belts one day, I am gonna run.
I'm scared.
I'm terrified because what a leg up they're going to get, right? I mean, holy man.
It's actually a reason I keep training, because I'm like, I have to be
Honestly,
ahead of the game.
Yes.
Got to be ahead of this.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, and my oldest, she loves to tell me where I'll be, where she'll be and where I'll be. She's keeping tabs big time. And that's a push, because you're like, I got to keep coming. Mm-hmm. I have to keep coming for that reason, because you can't beat me at this. Come on. So, and now as a training parent, like I said, the terminology is starting to click. And I know, when you first started as a white belt, you guys had so much to say about what you were doing. And I was like, I don't know what I'm doing physically, but also now you're putting a word with it. And my kids would be like, it's this, or, you do it like this. And, it's intimidating either way. But now it's beautiful. Because now on our days off, we go in the garage and we'll do it. We'll do the thing. We'll practice something that maybe my youngest isn't clear on, or my oldest wants to show off, or whatever it may be. We're doing mobility stuff. We're doing. It's always kind of like it's still bonding. It's bonding all the time over it, which is awesome. And we have fun with it. That's the most important thing. Is it is still fun. It's not, you have to do this, because before, I think as a bench parent, it was like, I was instructing like as if I knew anything, because I wanted them to stay in it and get in a mental space. And now it is lighter as a training parent. It's way lighter as a training parent now that I think about it.
Not a chore anymore,
Yep.
I think it's more like an exchange of experience,
You're
for
in the
like a
trenches together.
training part. Yeah, and I always like with my son, my husband go fishing with him and, has that to teach. And it was like, well, at least, I have the jiu-jitsu, the exchange. We go together, we be there together. And I think the main thing is a training parent that and then he gets home like, Mom, did you see that? Do I know how to do that? You know how to do better than me? It's exchange of experience, and I'll be able to be with him in something.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful
He's
journey.
It's
a journey together.
growing. Yes,
Nice.
for sure.
Yeah, it's nice to be able to share something. Other sports, it's harder, right? You don't really see like soccer kids who then the parents can do it alongside them. This is a really unique opportunity where the parents get to train too. And we're training the same thing. So we're like, oh, we did triangles, or my kid will say like, hey Mom, I saw you do that. Can you teach me? And so I can teach him, or show him work on it together. And that's a really unique opportunity that a lot of parents don't get that. And it's special for us training parents,
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think I could be, like my kids, they love to dance and do gymnastics and all the things, but I'm not a dance mom. I'm not dogging them. I'm just not that person. I couldn't relate to that. My kids have often actually asked me about horses. When are we going to start riding horses? And that's a bittersweet thing for me because I'm like, I want you to never, but also, man, do I want you to? I certainly could get back into it and do that, but it's just not where we're at. So then when they started jujitsu, I almost had no choice. It was almost inevitable. And again, we go back to Professor. I think he saw through his little crystal ball that I was eventually going to get it. He was going to wear me down. And I'm so thankful for it because, it's a great space to be in together. It's a part of the journey for sure. And I don't love sitting on the bench, even the days where I'm like not feeling great or something, or maybe I'm sitting out. Some days I'm decompressing from my day, sitting on the bench, watching kids' class, getting ready for my class at the same time. And that's actually a really comfortable place for me. I don't always help in class because I need a minute, but if I'm not staying, it's nice to sit out for a minute and see, from the looking glass, if you will. And then it's nice for, Dad comes and picks them up so I can have my class, and that's awesome too. It's like,
that is awesome.
It's my time now. It's my time.
Yeah. Your face changes too. I can see it sometimes. So I think I get like, not in a bad way, just in a way where it's like, I don't know, it's like kind of what you've said before, Nati, like you become kind of like a child. Like where you're
to enjoy it.
You get to like you saw your kids and you saw them, do the movements and the outside looking in, and that is an experience in and of itself, and it's a good one. But now you get to experience the same thing,
share it,
doing it, yes, and then you also get to feel it, and you get to go through the movements without not worrying, but watching someone else be taught, or it's just completely different when it's your own experience too.
Mm-hmm.
I think sometimes it's hard to be a bench parent. My experience with bench parenting wasn't very long because I started helping pretty much soon after. But I started training pretty much right after they joined. So, but being a bench parent, it's hard sometimes because even if you don't know a lot about jiu-jitsu, or you do, and some people join and don't, but watching them, and then when they don't get something, you get frustrated too, and as parents, we want our kids to do really well. So I know, like, I see it. I was there too. I did the same thing. So you see it and you're like, hey, do your push-ups right. Hey, do your jumping jacks right. Like, face the professor, we say all these things, and they, it's all appreciated, but know that overall it's okay. It's part of the whole journey, not knowing how to do the push-ups right, and starting out doing your jumping jacks all weird. It's just part of the process, and really important that you mentioned like the fun factor. For those younger kids, it's like, it's super important that they're still enjoying it, that they like it and have fun with it. We have fun with it. Obviously, we're more disciplined.
We have a lot of fun.
We drill a lot, but we have so much fun with it. Yeah. So we don't want it to be, like, you have to do this, you have to do that. But it's hard as a bench parent because you're watching and you want your kid to like listen.
Yeah.
So I feel like sometimes that's really hard for them, because I remember being there and being like, why is my kid not paying attention?
Yeah.
Like,
Also, when you're outside, you see more the details because you can see the professor doing and the other kids that
are doing
maybe
it.
do a little bit better, or it's like older. So it's like, why my kid is not doing the same,
Yeah.
and I give me a little bit anxiety, I
Yeah.
think also. I don't know if it's anxiety, but a
Frustration or
little bit
something.
like, I can see he could do better because it's another angle. So we're outside. It's not like really reality when you're there, because now you know, because if you train, you know that's not reality when you're there.
Yes.
So it's easy to see from outside than when you're there. So I think it's a big difference between if you're training parenting or a bench parenting, you know?
Yes.
You expect something that's not really reality when you're there.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I didn't think of it from that perspective because my daughter just started and she's kind
a
of being
teen,
forced a little bit.
Yeah.
She's also a preteen. She's 12. So, but she, you know, she's acting like she's like a 14, 15-year-old girl, and she's not. But that's a good perspective because I wouldn't have thought about it in that sense because I was never really a bench parent. I haven't been, so I don't know what that feels like, what it looks like really. Even going to kids class or showing up earlier, you know, like maybe 20, 30 minutes before, and seeing all of the kids and the parents lined up and everything. Like still, I get something different from it than all of you would. And that's interesting because if I were to look at something and I was a bench parent and I knew nothing about jujitsu, I would have high expectations. I'd be like, my daughter's going to be like an MMA fighter in 3 months.
Yeah.
You know, like doing flying arm bars and stuff and flipping in the air. And I'm like, and that's not what it is at all.
No.
So
The way I like to picture it with especially the really small kids is I picture, you know how you're teaching a toddler how to like pick up a glass with oven. It's like they do it, but it feels like what you would be doing if you picked it up with oven mitts, right? You'd be like toppling over and dropping it all over the place, spilling everywhere, but you're doing it, right? That's the way I think about like with the littles. I think they are getting the big picture, so they're trying to go from maybe standing to down to the takedown, and they kind of have like one movement, but there's like 5 movements to it. If they just get like one, that's good enough.
yes,
Because every time it's going to build. But that's why you got to, like we talked about in the last episode, that's why you got to have that consistency, right? Because that one class is going to teach them one little piece, and maybe the next class is going to teach them the next one. But it's just, that's their brains. You know, they can handle like the big fuzzy picture. It's just the oven mitts they're doing the thing. They're trying to pick up that glass with oven mitts and just spilling it everywhere. But like it creates like a sense of panic, like you were saying, Mika. Like it's a little panic on the parent side because you're like, I know you could do this. But if they're getting that big picture with the littles, that's all they need, you know. And little by little, it builds, and they're having fun while they're doing it.
details will come later.
It comes
like
later.
they
You
do
know
for
what?
us.
It actually puts it into perspective. So that makes me think of being on the bench for 2 years. I realized real quick, it is not that easy.
Yeah.
I mean, I was like, my older one is still showing me how to do hip scapes because she's like, Mom, you're not doing it right, you know? And it's like, it's humiliating, but at the same time in a very good way because, you know, it's not that easy. It's not. And to put myself in that position and try to delegate, you know, in management, your rule of thumb is you never delegate something that you wouldn't and couldn't do yourself. And to be able to put that into action now is so awesome. You know, before I was just a dictator and I didn't even know what I was talking about, you know, and I was like, oh, it's so easy. Oh, yeah, okay.
Exactly that.
Is it? The answer is no. No, it's not.
Yeah, from the outside is one thing, but when you're there, you know, it's
Different, completely different.
Yeah.
completely different.
Different experience. I even had the same thought, not even being a bench parent, but going to jujitsu. Like, I had a completely different picture in my brain than what it actually is. And even just everybody else aside, anybody and everyone, if you go and you do jujitsu, it's not, you're not learning like, or gonna have the technique of the day down that day. I'm sorry. Most of the time, 99% of the time, you're not going to unless you have other experience. That's at least what I've taken and learned as well. And you shouldn't, if you can't expect that of yourself, you can't expect that of your kids. You know, I feel like if I were in your position or even in Mika's position and not these for a brief period of time, if I were to sit there and be like the mom, the parent who's sitting on the bench, know nothing about jujitsu, watching my daughter do it, man, I would probably sit there and critique things that I think that I think that I know she has and can do.
Yeah.
But you guys are right. It's getting that base first, and then you build off of it. And doing jujitsu, I'm so happy I did jujitsu first instead of putting my daughter in it first. And I know about it because not because of from the aspect of knowing something that she doesn't, and I can still continue to be a teacher for her or whatever it may be, a guidance. It's not that. It's I know that if I don't expect that of myself, I shouldn't expect it of her. And now that she has joined and she's gone to a few classes now, it's tough. It's tough being a parent and also doing the class or even just sitting back and watching her do it, even in the same class. It's beautiful and it gives me a little anxiety at the same time because it's like, you're not doing your absolute best, but then I have to stop myself and say, but you're here.
Yeah.
And that's what I expect of myself.
Right.
At least as long as I'm there, then I did a good job. And guess what? She's there. Even if I had to drag her there kicking and screaming, and then she's there and then finally opens up halfway through class, it's more than worth it.
Yeah, I'm a lot lighter on the girls actually now that I am in it. I'm lighter on them. Before I was brutal.
Yeah.
Like, I'm huge on respect and, I
same.
was trained by Germans, so you just do it. And, not that Professor isn't a drill sergeant. He should have all the respect on the mats. He should have all the attention.
Yes.
I'm huge on that. And if you don't, just get off. It's frustrating to me from that aspect, but I also know that what they're doing isn't easy now. So, I am lighter and I'm like, okay, you don't get exactly a participation trophy, but at the same time, you kind of do. You kind of do. You showed up and you're trying, and I know it's hard, but you're there and it'll get better. I promise you. We just keep coming back. That's all.
Don't quit.
I think that's one of the things that when you start training, you realize, just like we were saying before, if you give your best and it's just 10%, that you did your best. And kids have the same thing.
Yeah.
They also have their days when they've maybe held it all in, together, held it in, want to let it out, but then they're still at jujitsu, they only have 10%. And so they're going to give 10%. But I'm kind of hoping with this episode also for our viewers that are bench parents that we can guide them, because I know some of them are wondering, like, well, how do I do? Because I know I did. I wondered, like, do I intervene? Do I get on the mat?
Right.
Do I tell them to get off the mat and talk to them?
Yeah.
So I was kind of hoping we could also kind of give some advice
Yeah.
for those that are bench parents, and then we could talk a little bit more about training parents too. But that's one of the things. Like, if I could tell bench parents anything, is that they can just be supportive. It's like
It's
seems
not
like
as
the
easy as
most
you
support-
think.
It isn't. It isn't as
not.
easy as it looks. But all the kids are already going to get the discipline and the reminders to do it and everything. Just support your coach professors.
Yeah.
But be supportive of your kids, that they just want to impress you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like they just want to
do.
say, like, they just want to be
Yeah.
like, did you see that? Did you when they go
Or-
home, like, did you see that triangle?
Yes.
I did?
Or not, or maybe they're flighty. Like I have a
Right.
very free-spirited child.
Yeah.
We will call her that. She's amazing at that. But also sometimes she just doesn't have 100% focus on jujitsu. But she doesn't have to go to the, IBJJF championships
Whatever
of the
it is.
world next week.
Yeah.
Like I've gotten later with that mentality, and that is, and obviously being very competitive throughout my life. As a bench parent, I was like, get in there, do it better, go harder. And I'm not now. I'm like, all right, we worked on that one thing.
Respect. Yeah.
Maybe we have to work on this other thing.
Yeah.
And maybe next week it's another thing. It's be easy on them because it's hard and it's personal. Like we've talked about before, it's very personal. I didn't do contact sports as a child.
Me
You know?
neither.
This
I
is
did,
tough.
but it wasn't like this. This is the most contact.
I'll say even my perspective changed again when I did the competition and the competition classes, and that's another huge factor is that's big for our bench parents too, and for our comp parents. I realized for myself as an adult, when we're in the middle of rolling in a comp class, when you're sweating, you're giving it your all, you're exhausted. That's when we need the positive reinforcement the most, and the kids need it too.
Yes.
In the middle of my hardest role, that is not the time to lecture me or
Right.
give me instructions in something I'm doing wrong. It's definitely the time and place to support. And that's made the world of a difference as an adult. I've noticed when Julio helps me out and he's just saying positive things, helps tremendously.
Yes.
And it makes a difference for me to dig for that last little bit of energy. So that's me going through that. I realized that with the kids too, like they need it even more than we do. Even just from my first competition and being stuck in someone's amazing closed guard, you know, I used to walk around the comp class and like they're rolling and they're in the, I'm like, get out of that guard. It's easy. You know, like just be like, and after that comp, I was like, it's not easy. I don't want to tell you to just get out of the guard because I know your pain, kid, you know?
Yeah.
So I realized I empathized even more and realizing like some things are better to, there's a moment for encouragement and that's it. That's the moment.
Yeah.
If you want to make a difference in your kid's life. And bench parents, you're already doing a great job by just taking them. And I think all of us are impressed with that because it takes a lot of energy and time in your day and scheduling to get them there. So kudos to you for taking them as often as you're taking them. That's already a huge step. And they might not thank you, but we as moms, we recognize it. We see you. And
Thank you, because
you.
even your kids just going and and even if they only take a little bit of this with them in their life, their journey, whatever it may be,
huge gift.
You're making the world a better place, essentially. So
it's huge.
Yeah, it is. It's a big deal.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah. And some other things you can like parents can do is like, I'm also thinking like as I help with the teach the kids classes on Thursdays, you know, and everything. So things that are helpful. If you're wondering as a bench parent, as a training parent, like things that you can connect with, like to help their journey. If you're a bench parent and you don't want to join jujitsu, and that's totally fine. It's not for everybody. Is you could talk to them about their techniques. Like, what did you work on? What did you like? And just listen, learn, and just encourage them that way. Or even if they have a parents and kids class at your school, do that. That's one of the best things you can do.
Yeah.
You know, it's like one technique and then you work on it and you bond with them there. That's huge too.
Yeah.
Right. You guys have been minus AK. You guys have done all the parents and kids class.
And so I went yesterday. This is just, I think maybe a little out of the topic, but I went yesterday with Kai to the parents and kids. And so we're doing something and he's like, Mom, you're grabbing with the wrong arm. I was like, oh, okay, you know? So I was like, oh, and professor, yeah, you're doing with the wrong arm. I was like, oh my gosh. I was like,
See, you felt inadequate, didn't you?
you know, it's nice because he was like, see, oh, he learned something, you know, with that on the journey together, exchange experience. But like, you know, he knows and he learned that.
They'll surprise you.
Better, yeah.
They'll
I was
surprise
like,
you at
wow,
how
you were paying attention when I thought you were like upside down over
Goofing
there.
around. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, awesome.
But they're retaining the information, dude. You're just like, it amazes me.
Yeah, and I was not naked.
Hey, you got a lot more stuff going on up there in your brain, okay?
No, I was definitely not.
But I having a daughter who's, you know, now in like with the adult class, and I'm noticing when there are girls there with her, like I'm not paying attention as much, but if I'm ever there and then, you know, we need to be paired up, which hasn't happened very often, but it has, even then I have to like stop myself. And even at this past Friday's class, the women's class, my girl was having a 10% day and I was too. So it was like, if we can get through this, like we can definitely work through any other type of like conversation, argument, whatever it may be in our future as, you know, mother and daughter, you know, especially with a preteen. This I think will help a lot. I think this will help break through a lot of things and, you know, just build more respect. Honestly, I think it's going to be a good connection. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So.
Anyone else has anything? Amanda, anything else?
No, keep bringing your kids.
Yeah. Honestly.
Keep bringing them. And if you want to come.
Yeah, please do.
Please do.
So
We
if
want to choke you.
So if not, I will end this episode with a quote from Helio Gracie. A real jiu-jitsu fighter does not go around beating people down. Our self-defense is made to neutralize aggression. That was really nice.
That is good.
Thanks for tuning in to the GiSquad podcast. We appreciate every single one of you. Don't forget to follow us on Spotify, Instagram, and YouTube at GiSquad Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please tell your teammates, your friends. That's how we grow the squad. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
See you next episode.
Post.